I'm Elara Vance, 36, and for 25 years, I believed my family loved me. That lie shattered 4 days before my younger brother's birthday gala, when my own mother texted me 3 words: "Please don't come." What they sent next made it worse. What I did at 8:01 a.m. on a Friday morning made it irreversible. How quickly did it unravel? In less than 72 hours, the luxurious venue for 180 guests was locked, the caterers, florists, and string quartet were gone, and my mother was frantically ordering chain pizza. My mother, who always straightened her pearl necklace when she was stressed, had no idea that her carefully constructed world was about to collapse, all because of one word I typed. Understood. Before we get into this, please take a moment to like and subscribe. But only if this story truly resonates with you. And drop your location and local time in the comments. I want to know where you are right now. Elara Vance, 36 years old. For days before my younger brother's birthday gala, my own mother texted me 3 words that ended 25 years of pretending. Please don't come. What they sent next made it worse. What I did at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday made it irreversible. For 6 months, I had been quietly putting that gala together through the vendors at my studio. Caterers, florists, the string quartet from Cascadia. My brother Finn thought I was just helping with a family discount. My mother told everyone the same. Even Finn's fiancé called me the events coordinator at the pre-gala dinner. I never corrected any of them. I'm going to tell you exactly how a single word, one word, became the most expensive sentence my family ever read. That word was understood. 6 months before the gala, my mother hosted Sunday brunch at her house in Portland. The same brunch we had been having for 30 years. Quiche Lorraine, roasted potatoes with too much rosemary, fruit salad done to the point of forgetting it had texture. I brought a hand-painted ceramic platter from my studio, wrapped in linen. My mother set it on the sideboard and didn't unwrap it. Finn's fiancée, Chloe, sat at the corner of the table in a designer jumpsuit. My mother walked her around the room. She introduced her to my Aunt Beatrix, to 2 cousins to my father. Finn bagged a real catch, my mother said, smiling. Aunt Beatrix turned to me. "Elara, how's the Haven?" My mother cut in before my mouth opened. "Elara's just helping Finn with a little discount. Isn't it sweet?" I did not correct her. My husband Liam squeezed my hand under the table 2 slow times. I opened the small leather notebook in my lap and uncapped my pen. Across the table, Chloe leaned toward my brother and said very softly, "Babe, can we talk about her in the photos?" I heard it. My mother heard it too. My mother turned her smile back to the room. "Elara was always our quiet one. Finn is our warm one." I closed the notebook. The page I had been writing on said only one line. Sunday, June 12th. Gala date in 200 days. Aunt Beatrix looked at me. Her face was perfectly still. Then she looked at my mother, and she said nothing at all. The Haven is a renovated industrial building from the 1920s on a half-acre lot in Portland's Arts District. Liam and I bought it in 2020, the year we married, for $3,500,000. A creative arts grant, both our savings, and a partnership clause that put 51% of the company in my name. I built the business slowly. 5 years of small gallery openings, of repeat art workshops, of a head floral designer named Beverly Okafor, who came with us from a boutique in Seattle. The book of preferred vendors is mine. The contracts are mine. The bookings sit under Vance Arts and Events LLC. In November, Finn texted me. "Sis, Mom says you'd help. Can we use your place?" I sent him the agreement, 18 pages. Family rate, 40% off venue. At cost vendor pricing through my preferred partners. Standard cancellation clauses in sections 14 through 18. He signed page 18 on November 22nd. He did not read pages 1 through 17. My mother co-signed as guarantor. She did read the first page because she said, "Honey, you're so generous." She did not read the cancellation policies either. She had Finn's pen. I signed every vendor contract under Vance Arts and Events LLC. Riverbend Catering, $30,000. Bloom and Branch Florals, $12,000. Cascadia Strings, $6,000. My event lead Carmen Whitfield staff team, $9,000. I filed everything in a navy folder in my office and a second copy in Liam's office at his law firm in Portland. Finn joked that day, "Sis, I trust you. Your family. Trust in hospitality contracts has a refund schedule." I did not say that aloud. In late January, my mother and Chloe drove out to the Haven for a tour. Chloe filmed it for her blog. "Touring my dream gala venue with my future Emile," the caption said. She did not tag me, although I was the one walking them through the main gallery, the private event space, the catering kitchen. Chloe paused her phone in the private event space and looked at my mother. "Genevieve, the staff, can we ask them to wear charcoal instead of black? Charcoal photographs better." "Of course," my mother said. "Elara will handle it." I nodded once. I wrote in the notebook, "Charcoal linen requested verbally." No follow-up email. Chloe continued lower, as if I had stepped outside, though I had not. "She's giving event coordinator grunt energy. I want clean frames." "Honey will sort it," my mother said. "Don't worry." I returned to my office and wrote a short email to Carmen. "Brief team next week. Standard event linen. No color change. The contract specifies the standard. Chloe can rent her own through her florist if she wants something else." Carmen replied within 90 seconds. "Got it, Elara." Beverly Okafor was outside in the courtyard when they left. She was checking the rose beds for the June blooms. She watched the luxury sedan pull out of the gravel drive. She did not wave. She walked up to me on the porch. "How was it?" she said. "Brief." I said. "They tag you?" "No." Beverly took her gardening gloves off and folded them. She looked at me with the long patience of a woman who had survived 4 landlords and 2 marriages. "Elara," she said, "when the time comes, just tell me. I work for you, not for them." I wrote that line in the notebook, too. In mid-March, my mother called me on a Friday afternoon. I was in my office. The courtyard outside was still bare. The first crocuses had not come up yet. "Elara, dear," she said, "Chloe has a vision board for the formal portraits. She prefers if you and Liam are not in them. You understand." I sat back in my chair. Liam was at the door, 2 coffees in his hands. He saw my face and stopped moving. "Whose decision is that, Mom?" I said. "It's everyone's, sweetheart."
Finn agrees.
"It's a Chloe aesthetic thing." I did not answer. "You'll respect it," she said. "Won't you?" "I have to go," I said. I hung up. I did not cry. I wrote in the notebook. March 14th, Genevieve call, not informal portraits. Everyone agreed, allegedly. Liam set the coffee on my desk.
He didn't ask.
Sat in the chair across from me and waited. She said it's everyone's decision, I told him. She said it with her mouth like she was offering me a tray of cookies. Whose decision was it really? Liam said. Hers, with Chloe's blessing. Finn signed off after, probably while watching a game. Liam pulled his laptop closer. "Did you read your contract again recently?" "No, you should." I opened the laptop. I opened the vendor folder. I clicked the master agreement. I scrolled to section 14, cancellation rights, owner discretion, 72 hours notice in writing, forfeiture of deposit, no refund. I read it twice. I did not say anything to Liam. I closed the laptop. I made one more line in the notebook. Section 14, read, filed. That was the first sting, and it was also the first map. Liam asked me later that month when I had stopped replying in the family group chat. October 2024, I said. After Mom posted that picture of Finn's gallery opening bonus and called him the only Vance, making her proud. You're still in the chat, though. Because muting is information. Leaving is a fight. 780 messages had accumulated in the past 4 weeks. I scrolled through them slowly on my phone with the brightness turned down so my glasses didn't glare. Chloe thanking everyone for their help. My mother praising Finn's vision for the toast. Aunt Beatrix contributing nothing. My father liking 3 messages out of 35. Aunt Beatrix sent me a separate text 2 weeks earlier. Just one line, I see what they're doing. I save everything I had replied. Thank you, B. She did not respond after that.
She did not have to.
I set the phone face down on the table. Outside, the first crocuses had pushed through last night's unexpected chill. A small purple thing, persistent. Liam walked behind me and put a hand on my shoulder. What does she mean? She saves everything. I don't know, I said, but I trust her. Why now? Because she's the only one in that house who's been quieter than I have. And she's about my age and patience, which is to say, running out. Liam was silent for a long beat. April will be quiet, he said. May, too. Then it's a gala. Then it's a gala, I said. I picked up the phone again. I scrolled to the family chat. I did not unmute. I locked the screen. The crocuses had 4 leaves now, and I had not noticed when. The pre-gala dinner at the Haven was the last weekend in April. I wore charcoal slacks, a neutral tunic, comfortable boots. I looked, by my own design, like studio staff. Liam wore a dark gray shirt. Chloe introduced me to her parents at the entrance. Eleanor and Thomas Hayes from Lake Oswego, both in their late 50s, both in casual luxury wear. This is Finn's sister, Chloe said. She runs the venue. Eleanor's smile was pleasant and brief. Oh, how nice. So, you're like the events coordinator? I said. Something like that. My mother appeared at my shoulder. Elara's helping. Family rate so generous, Eleanor said. How sweet. Thomas nodded once. Chloe took her tablet out and showed me the seating chart. Liam and I had been placed at table 9 with my cousin Marcus. Then Finn reached over and kicked Chloe's foot under the table. Chloe looked down at her screen, tapped twice, and Liam and I moved to table 12. The vendor table. I did not look up. Carmen Whitfield walked past my chair carrying a clipboard. Without slowing, she lifted the water glass off the place setting Chloe had put me in and carried it with her into the catering kitchen.
She did not look at me either.
My mother turned to Eleanor. Elara was always the quiet one. Finn is the warm one. Eleanor nodded. That night, in our loft apartment above the studio, I sat in our small kitchen with Liam. The window was open. June tree frogs were coming in early that year. I said to him, April was rehearsal.
What's June, then?
Performance, Liam said. I have until June 9th to walk. June 9th was a Tuesday. I remember it for the smell of fresh linen. I was organizing new canvases in the studio's storage room at 7:42 in the evening. A pot of water boiling for tea in the small kitchenette, a wooden spoon in my hand. Liam was in the den 3 rooms away. The window over the sink was open to the courtyard, fireflies starting. My phone buzzed once on the counter. It was my mother. A side message, not the family chat. 3 lines. Elara, honey, Finn and Chloe have asked please come Saturday. They want a drama-free gala. We'll explain later. I read it 3 times. 3 seconds passed. The phone buzzed again. Finn, sis, just send a gift. Don't make this hard. I put the wooden spoon down on the counter. I did not stir. I did not move my eyes from the screen. Liam walked in from the den holding a book. He looked at my face and stopped. What? I turned the phone toward him. He read it. He did not speak. I typed 1 word in lowercase and capitalized the first letter because it was a sentence, and I am a person who finishes sentences. Understood. I pressed send. I locked the phone. I picked up the wooden spoon. I stirred the tea. Liam said very softly, Elara. I said, if I say anything else, I'll say too much. I'd rather they wait. I finished the tea. I poured it. I sat across from Liam at the small kitchen table. After dinner, I said, I want to read section 14 with you. At 9:15 that Tuesday night, Liam and I sat in the den, under a single lamp with 2 laptops open. He pulled the Finn and Chloe master agreement from my filing cabinet. He read section 14 aloud. Owner discretion. Venue reserves the right to cancel services within 96 hours of event upon written notice to the guarantor. Forfeiture of deposit. The deposit was $7,500.
No refund.
He looked at me over the laptop. You can cancel everything by Friday morning. Every vendor is on your LLC contract. They answer to you, not the Vances. I asked, what's the legal risk to me? He said, 0. You're acting within the contract. Genevieve co-signed as guarantor. She is on notice. I opened the leather notebook. I wrote in it, June 9th, 8:02 p.m. Elara to family. Understood. June 9th, 9:15 p.m. Liam and Elara, Section 14 review. I closed the notebook. I left it on the desk. Liam said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I'm sure I want to stop pretending. Whether they eat the consequence, that's their problem."
Okay.
I want to send the emails Friday morning, 8 o'clock. That gives them 3 more days to make a different choice if they want to. They won't make a different choice, Elara. I know, I said. But it costs me nothing to give them the days. I opened the email draft template I had built in November, when I built the contract folder, when I built the whole pipeline. I saved it as a draft in 4 windows. I closed the laptop. Outside, the courtyard was silent, except for one owl. I turned the lamp off. On Wednesday at 11 o'clock in the morning, Chloe posted a short video to her online blog. She was arranging her hairpiece in soft yellow light. Soft piano music played in the background. She talked over the video in voiceover. "When you choose your piece over other people's chaos," she said, "some family members carry energy that doesn't belong in your sacred day. That's okay. Love them from a distance." The accompanying tags were drama-free bride, Saturday gala, luxury event. By noon, the post had 7,500 views. The comments were predictable.
Queen.
Setting standards.
Mood.
One woman wrote, "My sister-in-law was like this, and now I'm in therapy. Thank you for naming it." At 12:14, Beverly Okafor texted me a screenshot of Chloe's post. One question underneath. "Are you okay? Are we still on for Saturday?" I wrote back, "Beverly, hold all deliveries until you receive a Friday morning email from me at 8 a.m. sharp. Standard protocol." She wrote back, "Acknowledged." I did not reply to Chloe's post. I did not like it. I did not engage. I did not screenshot it for the family chat. I did not save it on my phone. But at 12:30, my mother shared Chloe's post to her community art forum page. The caption was hers, not Chloe's. "So proud of my future daughter," my mother wrote. "Healing energy is a choice." It got 130 likes by sundown, most from women in the Portland Arts Collective. Liam came home from court at 6 o'clock. He saw the screen on my laptop. He poured a glass of water. He did not say anything. "Saturday's still 4 days away," I said. "Friday is closer," he said. "Friday is the day." That night, Liam and I sat in the back garden of our loft apartment. June twilight alive with fireflies, the kind that come early in a warm spring. The lavender was waist-high. He brought me a cup of chamomile tea. He sat next to me on his iron bench. "Are you sad?"
He said.
"I'm tired," I said. Sad would be a relief. He waited. "I was 8 years old at Grandfather Vance's memorial," I said. I was holding the clipboard for the hospice nurse. The nurse had a tremor and couldn't write. I helped her write down which flowers came from which neighbors. I did not cry. I forgot to cry. I was busy. I was 8. Liam said nothing. My mother saw me from across the room. She said to her sister, 20 minutes later, "Elara doesn't feel things." Genevieve said it like it was a fact she had just discovered. She has never moved off that observation since. 25 years, Liam said. 42 seconds, I said. 42 seconds at a memorial when I was 8. The fireflies did not pause for either of us. I drank the tea. I set the cup down. I said, "I'm setting an alarm. Friday, 8 a.m. That's when I send the emails." Thursday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Aunt Beatrix called me. The caller ID said Aunt B. I answered on the second ring. She did not greet me. Her voice was flat. Her voice always was when she was about to deliver something she had rehearsed in her own head for a long time. "Elara," she said, "your mother just told the Community Arts Guild that you are, and I quote, too unstable to attend Finn's gala." I was sitting 2 chairs away from her. "Of course she did," I said. "I have 5 years of group chat screenshots. Every message Genevieve ever wrote about you. Every message your father didn't correct, organized by month, with sticky tabs." I did not say anything for 6 seconds. The tea water from Tuesday felt like it was still in my throat. I said, "Why now, B?" She said, "Because you have never asked." And because I think Saturday will need a witness who isn't on your payroll. I said, I'm not going Saturday, B. They asked me not to come. She said, I know, but the gala might come to you. I did not understand that immediately. I said, where are you keeping the file? She said, tablet. PDF, 84 pages annotated. I'll email it to you tonight. I said, thank you. She said, Elara, I'm sorry I waited 5 years. I said, don't be. You waited until I was ready to read them. I hung up. I walked into the den. I told Liam. Liam said one sentence. B has been watching. I said, yes, for a long time. At 11:47 that Thursday night, my mother left me a voicemail. I had been asleep. I woke for water. The phone showed her name. I played the message on the speaker, standing barefoot at the kitchen sink, the way you play a voicemail still when you do not want it in your ear. 47 seconds. Elara, honey, she said, I hope you're not making this difficult. We just want one beautiful day for Finn. Some daughters would understand. Chloe's family is so warm. We just need you to be, gracious about the gift. Finn said $400 would be appropriate. We can leave it at the front desk Friday afternoon. Just a card. Nothing personal. Please, Elara, we love you. Good night. I played it twice. I went back upstairs. Liam was awake. He had heard the speaker. $400, he said. She thinks the gift will erase it, I said. It's the same play. She's been playing it for 25 years, and it has worked for 25 years. Yes. I did not reply to the voicemail. I picked up the leather notebook from the bedside table. I wrote, June 11th, 11:47 p.m., voicemail, quote, gracious about the gift, unquote, $400 suggested, front desk Friday. I closed the notebook. I lay back down. Liam did not say anything for a while. The loft was so quiet I could hear the second hand on the old kitchen clock through 2 walls. I said, tomorrow at 8 o'clock the emails go out. Then it's done. Liam said, then it's done. I slept. I do not remember the dream. Friday morning, 6 o'clock, the loft kitchen. I made a French press of coffee. I sat at the island. The leather notebook on my left, the tablet on my right. Aunt Beatrix had emailed at 11 o'clock the night before. Subject line, Vance Family Chat, March 2021 through June 2026 annotated. 84 pages PDF. I opened it. Page 1. October 2021. Genevieve to Family Chat. Finn's latest exhibition sold out. Our golden boy with a star emoji. Page 4. December 2021. Genevieve, Elara is still doing the art thing. It's nice, she found something. Page 11. February 2022. Genevieve, don't invite Elara to brunch Sunday. You know how she gets quiet and ruins the mood. Page 27. January 2023. Genevieve to Finn privately. Screen shared with my father at the kitchen table. If you can use her venue, do it. She owes us for all the warmth we gave her brother. Page 47. April 2024. Genevieve to Family Chat. Elara doesn't feel family things. Don't waste your soft side on her. Page 81. Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. Genevieve to Family Chat with my name muted from the conversation, but still in the participant list. Just sent Elara the text.
She'll be fine.
She doesn't make scenes. I read all 84 pages. I did not cry. I marked 11 pages with the sticky tabs Liam had left on the counter. Yellow for the pages a courtroom would also notice. 25 years of quiet made into a PDF was shorter than I thought. At 7:58, I opened 4 email drafts. The cancellation emails. To Beverly. To Mateo Reyes at Riverbend Catering. To Cascadia Strings. To Carmen Whitfield. At 8:01, I clicked send on the last one.
Done.
The coffee was still warm. The confirmations came back inside 30 minutes. At 8:14, Beverly Okafor wrote, acknowledged. Floral order canceled. I will redirect the roses to the Portland Hospice donation list per our standard protocol. Stay safe, Elara. At 8:31, Mateo Reyes wrote from Riverbend Catering. Elara confirmed. Riverbend out. We were stretched thin this weekend anyway. Sunday package next month still on for the Whitman party. Let me know. I wrote back, yes Mateo. Sunday brunch confirmed. Thank you. At 9:02, Cascadia Strings replied with formal vendor language. Per clause 17 of our agreement, we cancel, without prejudice. Best to you and Liam. At 9:14, Carmen Whitfield wrote, Elara, staff stays off Saturday. I'll lock the gates at 6 a.m. Anyone else who comes, they hit gravel and stop. I have the keys, I replied. Thank you, Carmen. Drive safe. I forwarded all 4 threads to Liam's office email. He archived them under June 12th Haven cancellations. Backed up to his firm's secure drive. I opened the leather notebook one last time that morning. I wrote a single line. Friday, June 12th, vendor confirmations, 100% received. I closed the notebook. I set it on the kitchen counter. I did not pick it up again that day. I did not pick it up the next day either. For the first time in 6 months, I sat in my own kitchen with no list in my head, no follow-up email, no vendor call to make, no diplomatic message to draft. The June sun came in through the east window over the sink. The basil pot was warm. The metal was warming. It was 9:30 in the morning and Saturday had already happened. At 2 o'clock that Friday afternoon, my mother called. I let it go to voicemail. I sat on the back porch of the loft with a glass of iced tea. Liam was at his Portland office finishing depositions. The phone buzzed on the side table. The voicemail dropped. Elara, dear, my mother said, Beverly Okafor's assistant just called the gallery. The flowers won't be delivered tomorrow. There must be a mistake. Call me back. She did not sound worried yet, just inconvenienced. 14 minutes later, she called again. I did not answer. At 2:31, she texted, Elara, pick up. We need to figure this out before Finn hears. At 2:46, Finn texted, sis, Mom said flowers are off. WEF? Fix it. We don't have time for games. I read the messages. I did not reply. I screenshot each one. I saved them to a folder on my phone labeled June 12th escalation. I forwarded the folder to Liam. At 3:12, my mother called a third time. I declined the call manually. At 3:38, Finn called. I declined. At 3:53, Chloe called. I declined. The pattern was setting. I could hear them through the phone without picking up. Genevieve first, Finn second, Chloe third. None of them named the problem out loud yet. They were still hoping a vendor had made an error. At 3:58, my father called. I had not heard from my father by phone in 3 years. I held the phone in my hand for 2 rings. Then I answered. Dad, I said. He said, Elara. Sweetheart. The afternoon light on the porch was the kind that makes everything look soft. Dad, I said. Eat. He waited a second, then he said, Elara, sweetheart. What's happening tomorrow? I said, they asked me not to come. I'm not coming. The vendors I had under contract have been cancelled, per the agreement Finn and Mom signed in November. Pages 14 through 18. He was silent for 5 seconds. He said, I should have read those pages. I said, yes, you should have. He said, I should have read a lot of pages, sweetheart, over many years. My voice cracked then for the first time, half a second, less than a full breath. I steadied it. I said, Dad, I love you. I'm not coming. The gala still has a venue. The lights are on. The roof works. They will figure out the rest. They are adults, and they signed. He said, I know. I said, I want to talk to you, just you, once a month through Liam's office. No Mom, no Finn, not now. Maybe in August. We'll see. He said, okay, sweetheart. I said, are you all right, Dad? He said, I will be. I will be. I said, I'm going to hang up now. Don't tell Mom we spoke. Don't tell anyone. He said, I won't. I hung up first. I closed my eyes for 4 seconds. I counted in. I counted out. Liam was not home yet. I sat with the phone in my lap. The June light kept doing what June light does. indifferent to who was crying and who was choosing not to. I went inside. I poured myself a glass of water. I drank all of it. It was 4:06 in the afternoon. At 8 o'clock Friday night, the Vance family group chat exploded. I was muted, but I was reading. Genevieve, everyone. Elara has canceled the flowers and the caterer and the band. We need solutions now. There were 6 gray dots typing across 3 relatives. Aunt Beatrix wrote into the chat for the first time in 8 months. Beatrix, Genevieve, Finn, and Chloe asked Elara not to attend. Why would Elara's vendors deliver to an event she's not part of? Genevieve, Beatrix, stay out of this. Elara is being childish. Beatrix, Genevieve, I have screenshots from this same chat from 2022 from 2023. Want me to start the slideshow now or at 5 p.m. tomorrow during the toast? 14 seconds of nothing in the chat. Finn, Aunt B, don't. Beatrix, Finn, I love you, but you signed pages. Read them. Genevieve. Genevieve, Beatrix, you will not embarrass this family. Beatrix, Genevieve, you will not stop me. Genevieve left the chat. 90 seconds later she rejoined. She said nothing more that night. I watched it scroll on my phone sitting at the kitchen table with Liam across from me. Both of us eating soup we had not really tasted. Liam said, she's been waiting to do that for a long time. Aunt B. She just published her cover letter. I almost laughed. Almost. I said, tomorrow she's going to read them aloud, isn't she? Liam said, yes. I said, we should go for 60 seconds, not to fight. To be visible. So Mom can't tell the story without me in the room. Liam said, drive. At 10 that night, Chloe sent me a direct message on her blog. Elara, hi, can we talk? I think there's been a miscommunication. We're soulmates basically, and I love the venue, and I would never want to lose you from the day. Please call me back. My mom is destroyed about the catering. We can absolutely include you. Can you uncancel? She used 3 flower emojis at the end. I did not reply. At 11 o'clock, Chloe posted a private story to her close friends list. I do not follow Chloe, but Aunt Beatrix does, and Aunt Beatrix forwarded it to me with a single comment. Look at this. The story said, when venue staff don't understand the work it takes to plan a luxury day. I just sat with the screen for a moment. I did not respond. At 11:24, Eleanor Hayes called my cell from a Lake Oswego number. She left a voicemail. Elara, this is Eleanor, Chloe's mother. I don't know what has happened, but Chloe is in pieces. My daughter doesn't deserve this. Whatever Finn did, we can fix it. Please call me back. I noticed the construction of her sentence. Whatever Finn did, not whatever Chloe did. Not whatever happened. Eleanor Hayes was the first person outside the Vance family who had named the actor correctly. I did not return her call. I locked my phone. I set it face down on the dresser. Liam was already in bed. He turned the lamp off. The loft was dark. The June courtyard outside the open window had stopped its tree frogs for the night. I said, tomorrow they show up. There's nothing to show up to. Liam said, right. At 5:47 on Saturday morning, Carmen Whitfield drove up the gravel road to the Haven. She locked the main iron gate. She locked the service gate. She hung a printed sign on the chain. It read, private property. No events scheduled. Vance Arts and Events LLC. She tucked the brass-numbered keys into the front pocket of her work pants. She did not get out of the van again. At 6:30, Finn texted me, what's happening with the venue? Mom drove past. Gates are locked. I did not reply. At 7:14, Genevieve sent me a photo. The gates with the sign. At 7:31, Finn, Elara, open the venue. It's our gala day. I read each message. I did not reply. I made oatmeal. Liam made coffee. We sat on the back porch of the loft. The June courtyard was alive with morning light. The lavender row was knee-high. The leather notebook was closed on the kitchen counter. I did not need it anymore. It had become a museum piece, an object of past activity. The way a captain's logbook becomes an object after a voyage. I drank my coffee. I said, it's 7:45. The gala is in 8 hours and 15 minutes. They have a venue with locked gates, a list of guests with no food, No flowers, no music, and a bride who told the internet, "I'm staff." Liam said, "What are they going to do?" I said, "Find pizza." Liam laughed once, a short, low sound, the way he laughs when he is sad and amused at the same time. I said, "And by noon, they're going to ask a local grocery for cake." Liam said, "Probably." Aunt Beatrix texted me throughout that Saturday from inside the Vance household. She wrote in real time. I read each one. I did not reply. At 9 a.m., Genevieve called Portland's premier event hall. Fully booked. Gala season Saturday. At 10 a.m., Finn called 4 caterers in downtown Portland. All booked. Saturday in June. At 10:30, Chloe called her backup florist in the Pearl District. Fully booked. The florist's assistant added, with audible offense, that they would not have come at 12 hours' notice anyway. At 11 a.m., Genevieve called the Community Arts Guild Kitchen Ministry, where she has been a board member for 14 years. They declined. The kitchen coordinator told her, quietly and on a recorded line, "Genevieve, we do not serve receptions on 12 hours' notice."
I'm sorry.
At 11:30, Finn's gallery assistant, a junior at his Portland firm, drove to the local grocery and purchased 20 sheet cakes, 30 charcuterie boards, and 12 foam pitchers of sparkling cider. The cashier asked if he was hosting a corporate retreat. He said, yes. At 12:14, Eleanor Hayes on her credit card ordered 40 large pizzas from a chain for delivery to the Haven at 3 p.m. Aunt Beatrix to me. They are feeding 180 guests on grocery charcuterie boards and chain pizza. I am sitting in your mother's living room. She is calling it elegant comfort food. I am screenshotting everything. Liam read the text over my shoulder. He said, "Grocery charcuterie boards." I said, I considered briefly whether charcuterie boards were a sufficient apology. Liam said, and I said, no. I want to step out of the story for 30 seconds. While Elara is in New Hampshire and her brother's gala is collapsing without her, I want you to comment one thing. The name of the family member who has also texted you something like, "Don't make this hard." We are not shaming anyone. We are seeing each other. Back to Saturday. At noon, Liam and I got in the car. We drove 90 minutes north into New Hampshire to a farmhouse Liam had signed a lease for the week before, Hawthorne House. 1820s federal, 18 acres, view of the Connecticut River. We walked through it slowly, the wide pine floors, the empty rooms, the 2 stone fireplaces. The barn that would become the reception space when we opened in the spring of 2027. I touched the wide kitchen counter. It was warm from the south window. I said, I should feel something dramatic. Liam said, what do you feel? I said, like I've been quiet for 25 years, and I just took a deep breath. That's all. Just a breath. He kissed the side of my head. We sat on the porch. I had turned my phone to Do Not Disturb. By sundown, the missed call list would be 84. I did not know that yet, sitting on that porch with Liam and a thermos of coffee. The river moved below the south meadow. A red-tailed hawk circled. At 3:47, Beatrix broke through Do Not Disturb with a starred message. It started. The processional just walked.
No flowers.
Chloe crying. Genevieve screaming.
Send.
At 4:02, my phone rang. Finn. I sat on the porch of Hawthorne House. The river was a slow gray line below the meadow. The sky was bright. The hawk was gone. I answered. He was crying when he spoke, half shout, half cry. Elara, why is there no food?
No flowers?
No band? Why? I could hear Chloe behind him. She was inside the suite weeping. I could hear my mother further away yelling things at someone, probably Eleanor Hayes, possibly the officiant. I spoke quietly, almost gently. I said, Finn, just a small gift. Don't make a big deal out of it. For seconds of silence on his end. I heard him breathe in. He said, Elara, people are leaving. Chloe's family is leaving. The officiant is leaving. I said, then I imagine it will be a quiet gala. He said, Elara, please, please. I'll do anything. I said, Finn, the gala is happening. You are married, technically the moment vows are exchanged. That's what Genevieve said. Drama-free. He said, Elara. I said, goodbye, Finn. I hung up first. I turned the phone off. Liam handed me a glass of water. He sat down on the porch step next to me. He did not say anything for a long minute. He said, how does it feel? I said, honestly, quiet. A small breeze moved through the meadow grass. Liam said, B wants us there for 60 seconds. So, Genevieve can't write the story without you in the room. I said, yes, 60 seconds. Then we leave. I went inside to change into my navy dress. At 4:42, Aunt Beatrix called. She said, Elara, the reception is happening anyway. Genevieve is begging Finn to do the toasts. Chloe is back out in her dress. Most of the cousins are still here, mostly out of curiosity. I want you here for 1 minute, to stand in the doorway, to be seen. You don't have to say a single word. Let me say it. I said, B, why? She said, because if you stay home, your mother gets to write the version where you ran away. If you walk in for 60 seconds, holding nothing, saying nothing, every story they tell after this will be about how quiet you were. I said, all right. I went inside the Hawthorne House kitchen. I changed into the plain navy dress, the kind of dress I wear to board meetings. Liam changed into a charcoal suit he kept folded in the trunk for client meetings. By 5 o'clock we were on Interstate 5 southbound. Liam drove. The afternoon light was gold by the time we crossed the Oregon line. I said, what am I going to say if Finn tries to apologize? Liam said nothing. You're not staying long enough for him to finish a sentence. I said, what if Mom is at the door? Liam said, we walk past her. I said, what if she falls down? Liam said, she won't fall down. Aunt B has already told 2 cousins to be at the door. I said, okay. We drove through the last of the daylight. The Portland exit was I-5-mile marker 299. We made it by 6:40. We turned onto the gravel drive at 6:42 p.m. Carmen Whitfield was at the gate in her van. She got out, unlocked the iron, and waved us through. She nodded once at me, then drove behind our car. The gravel under her tires was the same gravel under ours. She would not be alone in this. The courtyard had no floral arches, no string lights, no bandstand stage. The PVC frame Chloe had paid for, the one Beverly had been going to fill with 500 white and rust-colored roses, stood empty in the center of the lawn. A bare skeleton of plastic pipe. The wind moved through it without anything to catch. 180 folding chairs in charcoal rented linen arranged into 2 arcs around the bare arch. 80 or so guests still present. 40 had already left. The rest were eating chain pizza off paper plates with plastic forks. The grocery charcuterie board sat on a side table in the sun sweating. The cheap rented linens were the charcoal Chloe had asked for once in January as a verbal request she never put on a contract. Chloe was in the private event space in her dress, makeup ruined. Finn sat at the head table drinking a craft beer out of a paper cup. My mother was at the empty PVC arch, both hands at her hair, trying to look composed. She saw me at the gate. She walked toward me fast. Genevieve. Elara, you came. Oh, thank God. Listen, we just need. I said, Mom, hi. I'm not staying long. Liam stood next to me.
He did not speak.
Aunt Beatrix stood up at the head of the cousin table. She did not raise her voice.
She did not need to.
The 30 conversations in the courtyard stopped on their own. She said, very clearly, I'd like to give an unscheduled toast. She tapped her tablet. The volume came up. 180 heads turned. Aunt Beatrix held her tablet in both hands the way you hold a hymnal. She said, my niece Elara Vance is here for 60 seconds. She wasn't going to come. I asked her to. I asked her because I wanted you to see her instead of the woman my brother's wife has narrated over for 25 years. My mother said, Beatrix, sit down. Aunt Beatrix did not turn. She said, I'm going to read 4 short messages from our family group chat. These are Genevieve's own words, dated, screenshotted, archived since 2021. The courtyard was silent. She read, October 2021, Genevieve to family chat. Don't invite Elara to brunch. You know how she gets quiet and ruins the mood. January 2023. Genevieve to Finn privately, screen shared at the kitchen table. If you can use her venue, do it. She owes us for all the warmth we gave her brother. April 2024. Genevieve to family chat. Elara doesn't feel family things. Don't waste your soft side on her. This Tuesday, Genevieve to family chat. Elara muted but still listed. Just sent Elara the text.
She'll be fine.
She doesn't make scenes. Aunt Beatrix lowered the tablet. She said, she didn't make a scene. She made a contract. There is a difference. 180 guests did not breathe. My mother said fast and loud, Beatrix, you manipulated those screenshots. You took them out of context. For the first time in 40 years of marriage, my father spoke across my mother. His voice was low. It carried. Genevieve, he said, that's enough. My mother stopped. She stared at him. Chloe had appeared in the doorway of the private event space in her dress, holding her hairpiece in one hand. Finn was standing now, one hand on the head table for balance. I had not moved from the gate. I had not raised my voice.
Liam was beside me.
Carmen Whitfield was 3 steps behind me with the keys. I walked forward 7 steps and stopped at the empty PVC arch. I did not raise my voice. The courtyard was silent enough that I did not have to. I said, Finn, Chloe, congratulations on your marriage. Finn did not move. Chloe held her hairpiece tighter. I said, I'm not going to say much. I'll say 3 things, and then I'll leave. 1. Every contract that was cancelled today was cancelled by me lawfully under Section 14 of the venue agreement Finn and Mom signed in November. The deposits, $7,500 in total, are forfeit. I am keeping them per the signed agreement. 2. I will not be at any Vance family event going forward. Communication with Mom, Dad, and Finn will go through Liam's office at the firm in Portland. He has the email. He has the address. I will read what's sent. I will not respond personally. I paused. I turned to Chloe in the doorway. I said, Chloe, you don't know me. None of this was about you. I hope your marriage is everything you want it to be. I mean that. Chloe said in a voice the size of a thumbnail. Thank you. I turned to Liam. I said, we can go. We started walking. The gate was 40 feet away. My mother lunged forward into the aisle of folding chairs. She said, Elara, wait. We are your family. You can't just... I did not stop. I did not turn my head. I said, halfway to the gate, Mom, I just did. Carmen Whitfield was at the iron gate already. She held it open with one hand. Liam and I walked through it. She closed it behind us. She locked it. She put the brass-numbered keys back in her pocket. Behind me, my mother was saying my name again, smaller now. Aunt Beatrix caught up to the gate 30 seconds later with my father 2 steps behind her. At 7:14, Liam and I were back on the highway heading north toward the loft. I sat in the passenger seat with my hands flat on my thighs. I had not said anything since the gate.
The phone in my lap rang.
Aunt Beatrix, I answered. She said, it's done. I'm leaving, too. Most of the guests are leaving with me. Chloe is in the private event space. Finn is I don't know where Finn is. Your mother is crying. But she is also already telling Aunt Carol that I attacked her in public. Just so you know what the next story will be. I said, of course she is. Aunt Beatrix said, I'll see you Tuesday. Tea at 3 o'clock. Bring nothing. I said, thank you. She said, I should have read those pages too, Elara, 25 years ago. She hung up. I watched the green Oregon shoulder pass outside the window. The interstate had emptied. Liam drove the right lane at 62. The June light was still in the sky. June lets you have a long evening. I said, Dad spoke to her. Liam said, I heard. I said, first time? Liam said it was a quiet first time. The phone buzzed in my hand. A direct message on her blog from Chloe Hayes from the private event space at the Haven. It said only this. Finn doesn't know I'm texting.
I'm sorry.
I'll do better than them. See, I read it twice. I did not reply. I locked the phone. I turned my face to Liam. I said, "Let's go home." He took my hand off my thigh and held it the whole way back. Sunday morning, 8 a.m., I made coffee in our kitchen at the loft. The loft looks west over the city. The light was clean. Liam had drafted 3 emails for me on his laptop. I read each one twice. Then I sent them. Email 1. From Park and Associates to Genevieve Vance and Finn Vance. Subject line, formal notice. Body, cease and direct communication. All future contact through Liam's office. CC to the family attorney. Email 2. From me to the business office at the Community Arts Guild. Effective immediately, remove me from the Vance family contact list. Any inquiries should be directed to my husband's firm. Email 3. Identical text. Portland's premier event hall. I sent the third one at 8:21. 9 a.m. Aunt Beatrix forwarded me a screenshot. Chloe Hayes's blog account was now private. The follower count had dropped overnight from 35,000 to 23,000. 12,000 people had unfollowed in 14 hours. 9:30. Beatrix posted on her own community art forum page one line. Saturday Club verified 25 years. I am proud of my niece. That is all I will say. 87 likes from Portland by lunch. I opened the leather notebook. I wrote 3 lines. Community Arts Guild Board voted to remove Genevieve. Beatrix is the secretary. Finn's firm sent him an email about a public conduct review. Chloe's brand contract with a designer paused pending review. I closed the notebook. The coffee was still warm. 25 years of quiet paid for one Saturday of loud. Tuesday afternoon, 3 p.m. The Havens kitchen garden. Aunt Beatrix wore her gardening apron.
I uormina.
The bees were working the lavender by the south wall. The June light made everything look slower. She poured tea into 2 mugs. Both mugs were chipped. She said, "You're going to talk to your father?" "Yes." She said, "How often?" I said, "Once a month. Father only."
No mam. No fin.
She nodded once. The lavender moved. I said, "Liam and I close on Hawthorne next week." She said, "Hawthorne House." I said, "New venue. White Mountains, New Hampshire. Opening spring of 2027. She said, "That's quite an upgrade." I said, "I'm ready for one." She said, "Would you let me help?" The inaugural season. Without pay. I said, You would be welcome. Officially. Contract on Monday." She laughed once. A real laugh. The first one I had heard her give in months. I drank my tea. I waited for the bees to move from one lavender spike to the next. Then I said it. I said, "I am pregnant. 14 weeks. Her hand went to her mouth. She said, "Elara." I said, "We are not telling them." She lowered her hand. She said, "The boundary holds." I said, "The boundary holds." The bees kept working. The light moved west across the garden wall. We sat there until the tea was cold. "I have one thing left to say to you. Then I am done. There are families that love you with their warm hands. And there are families that love you with their cold mouths. I spent 25 years calling the second kind by the first kind's name. I will not call it that again. That is the lesson. That is the whole lesson. You can be the warm one. You can be the quiet one. You can be the daughter who pays for the venue. You can be all 3 at once. None of that requires you to keep showing up to a gala you were not invited to. None of that requires you to send a gift. Some families call your quiet coldness. Some families call your boundary cruelty. Let them. They're using the wrong words. That is my story. 4 days of warning. 1 word. Understood. And 1 cousin's tablet that held 25 years of receipts. If this reminded you to read your own family's pages, then read them. Read every line. Save the screenshots. And if you have someone like Aunt Beatrix in your life, the one who kept the receipts when no one was looking, tell her thank you today.
Today.
Not next week. Lessons from this story. Always read and understand contracts thoroughly. Establishing firm boundaries is crucial for personal well-being. Self-worth should not depend on toxic family approval. Quiet observation and documentation can be powerful tools.